Okay, so first one, number 1, part B. Number 1 says decide whether the function is a polynomial function. If so, write it in standard form and state its degree, type, and leading coefficient. So is B a polynomial function? Yes, so how would we put it in standard form?
1/4 x2 minus 3x2 plus 2x plus 1.
Awesome. So we just start with our highest degree, then work our way down. Now for degree, type, and leading coefficient, which term are we looking at? We're just looking at the first term. So what's our degree here? 3. So what type would that make this? Cubic. And then what's our leading coefficient? Just 1/4. Just the number in front of the x. All right. So let's look at C. Is this a polynomial function? Why?
Because x has a -2.
Perfect. That x to the minus 2 power makes this not a polynomial function. Any questions from number 1? All right, let's move on to 2. So 2b. We need to describe the end behavior of the graph of the function. So which term do we look at to tell us our end behavior? Our highest degree. So we have the 1/4 x to the 4th, x to the. All right, so is this positive or negative? Positive, so that means our right arrow goes up. Is it even or odd? Odd, so what does that tell us about our left arrow?
It goes down.
It goes down. All right, let's move on to C. Which term are we looking at?
4x6.
4x to the 6th power. Is this positive or negative?
It's positive.
So that
Even, so it's upward.
positive means our right arrow goes up. Even means it goes in the same direction. So we have up and up.
So the way you do this is that it's like a positive.
Okay, so D, which term are we looking at? Negative 5x to the 5th. Is this positive or negative? Negative. So what does that tell us about our right arrow? The right one goes down. Is it even or odd? So then the left one goes up because they go in opposite directions. Any questions about number 2? All right, let's go to 3b. So we have to graph the polynomial function. To graph, we need 2 things. We need the end behavior and the points. So which term do we look at to tell us our end behavior? X to the 4th. Is this positive or negative? So the right one goes up. Is it even or odd? Even, so they go in the same direction. So our graph is going to end going up and up. Now we need to plug in some numbers. So let's plug in -2, 0, and 2. So we plug in -2. We have -2 to the 4th power minus -2 squared plus 1. What is -2 to the 4th power? 16. What is -2 squared? -2 squared?
I mean, like the time would be 4, but
It would be 4, and then that negative outside makes it -4, and then plus 1. So it's 16 minus 4 plus 1. 13. So let's draw our graph. Our first point is going to go to the left 2 and up 13. let's plug in 0. So we have 0 minus 0 plus 1. What do we get? 1. So we plug in 0, we get 1. We can put our next point there. And then let's plug in 2. So 2 to the 4th power minus 2 squared plus 1. What's 2 to the 4th power? 16. What's 2 squared?
4,
So minus 4 plus 1.
13.
13. So when we plug in 2, we get 13. So we're going to go the right 2 and up 13.
So I said, we're gonna have to face out like arrows.
So we just need to make sure both of our arrows are facing up, and then we just connect the dots. So this is our graph for part B. All right, let's do number 4, part B. So our goal here is to combine like terms.
And distribute the negative.
First thing we need to do is distribute the negative. So I like to rewrite it just to make sure we don't make any sign errors. So this becomes negative x to the 4th, positive 3x cubed, negative 2x, and positive 7. So we just change the signs of everything after the minus sign. Now we just combine like terms. So what do we start with?
Well, since it's x4, you just drop it down.
Right, so negative x to the 4th. We can cross that out so we don't get it confused. We know we're done with x to the 4th. What comes next?
x3
x3. So we have x cubed plus 3x cubed.
plus 4x cubed.
So plus 4x cubed. So we can cross those out. What's next?
Negative 2x.
Negative 2x squared. It's our only x squared, so we're good with that.
And the x's, which is negative 5. Yes.
So then we have this negative 3x minus 2x, which would be negative 5x. We can cross those out.
Plus 11 plus 4 plus 17.
Perfect. And then 4 plus 7 is 11. So that's our answer. All right, let's move on to 5. Multiplying. So we did A on Friday, so let's look at B. Here we see that these are conjugals of each other, conjugates. So we see the same thing, but the only thing's different is the sign in the middle, so we know we can just square the first one and square the second. So 4x squared would be what? 16x squared minus in the middle, and then what's 6 squared? 36. So this is just the shortcut. If we see that we have the same thing but minus and then plus, we can just square the first one, square the second. You could just FOIL this if you wanted to. You'd get the same answer. So if you didn't know the shortcut, weren't confident in it, just FOIL it. You'll get the same exact thing. Yes.
What if it was the plus then the negative? Would it not work?
If it was plus then negative, it still works. But you just have to, you always use the negative sign. If one of them's negative, your answer is going to be negative. Uh-huh. All right, next one. What do we do here? We just have to make sure all of our terms in our first parentheses get multiplied to all the terms in our second parentheses. So x squared times x is what? X squared times 4 plus 4x squared. Then negative x times x minus x squared. Negative x times 4. Negative 4x. 3 times x. 3x. And 3 times 4. 12. Now we just have to combine all their like terms. So what comes first? What's next? So 4x squared minus x squared is 3x squared. What's next? negative x,
and 11 and 12.
and then plus 12. Negative x squared came from multiplying negative x times x, this one. Okay, this was the last one on that page. So everybody's good with the first page? No questions? All right, next page. We did B on Friday, so let's look at A. Which one goes on the outside? X squared minus 2x minus 1. What goes on the inside? Plus 0x plus 8. So we're missing the x term, so we just have to make that a 0x. So can't forget to include all your terms. All right, where do we start? Okay, somebody else.
Well, multiplies by x squared to get 4x.
What multiplies by x squared to give us 4x to the fourth?
4x squared, and put on top of that x squared.
4x squared. So just make sure our x squareds are lined up. So we need to see what can we multiply times this number to give us this one. And that's what we put up top. Because now we're going to multiply everything up top times everything out front. So 4x squared times x squared
4x.
would be 4x to the fourth, which is the goal. We want to get that same thing that we started with. And then 4x squared times negative 2x
Negative x cubed.
would be negative 8x cubed. And then 4x squared times negative 1 would be negative 4x squared. Lexi, what was your question? Okay. Okay, so we can just ignore this x squared there. But now we have to change the signs because we want these first terms to cancel out. So we have to change all the signs here. All the signs in this row, we change. Got it? Okay, we got those numbers by multiplying this times everything out front. So we multiplied 4x squared times x squared, 4x squared times negative 2x, and 4x squared times negative 1. That's how we got this row here. This row. Then in this row, we have to change the signs. Because our number one goal is to get our first terms to cancel out. Now we combine all the other terms, so it's negative 2x cubed plus 8x cubed. 6x cubed. And then x squared plus 4x squared. 5x squared. Lexi, now we start from the top. So what times x squared gives us 6x cubed? What times x squared gives us 6x cubed? So let's do it same way we did on the side here. So if we have 6x cubed, which is 3x's, divided by x squared, which is just 2x's, these x's cancel, so just 6x. So plus 6x. Now we multiply that 6x times everything out front. So 6x times x squared is what? Yeah, so 6x here times this. If we have one x here up top, and we have two x's out here, and we're multiplying, how many x's do we have? if it helps you write each step out, we have 6x times x squared. So 6x times x times x. How many x's do we have? 3. So this would be 6x cubed. Next we have 6x times negative 2x. So we moved on to this one. So what's 6x times negative 2x? Negative 12x. So we write that right next to it. Negative 12x. X squared, because we have 2 x's. And then we have 6x times negative 1. What's 6x times negative 1? Negative 6x. What do we do next? So we want to combine these two rows. We add them together, but we need these 6x cubed and 6x cubed to cancel out. So what can we do? What did we do in the last step to get them to cancel? Change the signs. So this becomes negative, this becomes positive, this becomes positive. Now these two cancel. And we have 5x squared plus 12x squared. Olivia, what is it? 17x squared. And then 0x plus 6x. 6x. So now we do it all again. What times x squared gives us 17x squared? Lexi. So if we have 17x squared, so 17 and 2 x's, divided by 2 x's, just 17. So plus 17. Now we multiply 17 by everything out front. So what's 17 times x squared? 17x squared. What's 17 times negative 2x? Negative 34x. And 17 times negative 1? Negative 17. What do we have to do now? Awesome. Change the sign. So negative, positive, positive. What happens to 17x squared minus 17x squared? The first, what do we do now when we combine them? Cancel them out. Perfect. And then 6x plus 34x. 40x. And then 8 plus 17. 25. Once we run out of places to go here, everything else is our remainder. So what comes from the bottom goes on top. Awesome. So 40x plus 25 over x squared minus 2x minus 1. So our answer, it kind of looks messy at the top, so I'll rewrite it here, is 4x squared plus 6x plus 17 plus 40x plus 25 over x squared minus 2x minus 1. So this is our whole answer. All right, let's move on to synthetic division. So we did A, so let's look at B. What goes outside? Positive 2. So remember, we change the sign here. What goes inside? 4, 2, 0, negative 4. Because here we have to put that 0x. Drop down the 4. Multiply. Yeah, you need to put 0 because then your answer will be off. Perfect. Since we started with x cubed, our answer is going to be 4x squared. Then we just descend from there. So plus 10x plus 20
plus 36 over x minus 2.
plus 36 over x minus 2. Awesome.
So the answer to this is like the problem.
So your answer comes from all of these numbers here, and then you just have to see what you started with, and your answer is going to be 1 less degree. What number goes out front? 5. Remember, when it is equal to, you don't change the sign. So we have 5 outside, and then in the box, 4. Perfect. 4, 2, 0, negative 4, because that x is the term that's missing. 5 times 4 is 20. Add the inside, so 22. 110. 5 times 110. 550. 550 minus 4. 546. What would be our answer here? The remainder is our answer.
What's the difference between, oh, it's just the remainder of the answer?
Yeah, so here when it says evaluate, it's not letting me scroll to the question, but the question says evaluate. That's when it's just the remainder as your answer. If it says divide using synthetic division, that's when you would put like the x squared, the x, all of those, and you would have the whole thing as your answer. But when it just evaluate, it's just the remainder.
And you don't change the sign, right?
And you don't change the sign. So anytime it says x is equal to something, you don't change the sign that goes on the outside. But if it was in parentheses, you change the sign. A in this one?
Yeah.
Okay. What goes on the outside? Negative 3. What goes on the inside? Perfect. Are we missing any terms?
No.
Nope, so we're good to go. Drop down the negative 2. Now what? Multiply. Uh-huh. Then? And then? What do we get? Negative 30. And then? Negative 30 plus 8 is positive 8, so this would be negative 22. Negative 22 times negative 3? 66. And 10 plus 66? So what's our answer? 76.